everyone, and welcome to Now You Can, our monthly expo show celebrating the game-changing world of low-code, no-code for financial markets. Yes, I'm your host, Georgie Barrett, and I'm delighted to be guiding you through this month's lineup of talks, demos, and more. So today we're going to be discussing how low-code, no-code is solving challenges across the financial markets in end-user computing, legacy innovation, new industry applications, and e-platforms. Now, to financial markets experts, these use cases will be all too familiar, with high costs for new application development or procurement, error-prone and end-user solutions, and the cumbersome legacy estates. We'll go through each industry challenge in turn to explore how low-code, no-code solves many of these unique use cases, helping firms deliver innovation at speed. We'll kick off the expo with a company update from Stephen Murphy, CEO and co-founder of Genesys, before diving into those 4 financial markets use cases. I'll be joined by platform experts, both live in the studio and also remotely, to demonstrate how low-code, no-code is solving key industry challenges. So without further delay, let's now hand over to Stephen in Miami.
Welcome to our September Now You Can event. Thank you for taking the time out to watch either live or on demand. We have some exciting new company updates from the third quarter of 2021 and also upcoming news for the remaining 3 months of the year. So let's start with some really important company updates. I'm proud to say we've passed the 130 mark of people working at Genesys. We started the year with 50 team members, having achieved major growth across all areas of the company. Welcome to all of our new colleagues around the world. I'm also excited to announce we've actually opened up our new Irish office in Dublin. We have also hired and recruited our new CFO, Billy Morris. We see Dublin as an exciting new location for all aspects of the company, ranging from business development, engineering, all the way through to operational support. If there are exceptional people watching this event in Ireland, or in any of our growing number of global locations, we are hiring. We'd love to hear from you. Check out the Genesys website for open positions. I would like to thank everyone who participated in our Genesys All-Stars event at the Miami Heat Stadium. We had a number of clients, team members, partners, as well as the University of Miami and Miami's mayor office participate. Miami's become a major tech hub in the US, and many of our clients have either relocated or opened a significant presence here. Our Miami office is now well established with over 20 people here and a plan to grow substantially more across all functions. We continue to see growth in New York, Miami, San Francisco, and other cities in the US as well. Finally, I would like to share an upcoming announcement for the new Genesys Academy program. We have partnered with our top-tier global financial institutional clients who are adopting the Genesys low-code, no-code platform across their entire business. This new training program is part of our vision, allowing developers across the entire industry to develop on the Genesys platform, building highly complex event-driven applications all the way through to simple BPM-based workflows in weeks, not years. All of this is further validation and adoption of Genesys, the only low-code, no-code platform built specifically for financial markets. As always, thanks again for joining us. I look forward to sharing more exciting news as we close out the remainder of 2021. Back over to you guys.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen, for that company update. Right, as I mentioned before, in today's show, we're going to be looking at a number of recurring use case themes where the Genesys low-code, no-code platform is helping clients transform IT delivery. And to help us through all of this today, I'm joined by Ben Jeffries, Senior Technical Pre-Sales at Genesys. Welcome, Ben.
Hello, Georgie, and great to be with you here in the studio again. And as usual, we've got plenty to go through today.
We certainly do. And actually, before we just dive into all those details, I'd love to hear from you just an overview of what we're going to be speaking about today.
Sure thing, Georgie. Maybe I'll start with what is a use case. It's one of those terms we use a lot. For argument's sake, a use case is essentially a usage scenario for a software solution. So being part of the pre-sales team here at Genesys, I'm involved with many conversations with potential and existing clients where we talk through particular challenges that their business face and how software can help. Now, as you know, Genesys specializes in financial markets, and we find that despite a really wide range of conversations we have, the challenge or challenges these businesses face will typically boil down into a small number of these recurring use case themes.
Great, so the use cases that you've chosen gives a nice overview of these common challenges that keep coming up.
Absolutely. So if you think about how diverse financial markets businesses can be, I find it really interesting that at the end of the day, they all face the same type of challenge. Now, this is where low-code, no-code platforms like Genesis can really help. And Georgie, you've heard us use the term buy to build before.
I certainly have, yes.
Well, think about buy to build really changes how bespoke software applications can be delivered. It means that a client can have software solutions that address their specific needs and requirements. No more compromises.
Great. Well, let's get stuck in. What's the first use case we're going to discuss today?
Today, we're going to start with an old favourite, legacy innovation.
I like how you call it an old favourite. Why have you given it that name?
Well, someone that has spent a long time working with technology and financial markets, I've seen and lived this use case many a time. We're essentially talking about how a business can be constrained by legacy systems that sit at the heart of their operations. They are cost prohibitive to replace and difficult to innovate around. People talk to us at Genesis because they can develop custom or bespoke applications on our platform that kind of wrap around these legacy systems, essentially removing the restraints, the limitations, and allowing a business to innovate.
Well, that sounds really interesting, Ben. But before you actually take us through that example, let's first recap a conversation I had with Genesis co-founder and CEO, Stephen Murphy, for some of his insight on legacy innovation. Stephen, let's start by just talking about what we actually mean by legacy innovation.
That's a great question. So legacy innovation is really two things. It can be a firm's legacy internal technology stack, or it can be legacy vendor technologies. In the financial markets, there's been a huge amount of investment in technology, probably 30, 40 years. That's actually breeded a lot of legacy vendors, which have a lot of legacy technologies, as well as legacy business models, but also legacy internal technology. And legacy innovation is taking that technology or being able to migrate or transform those technologies, whether or not it's transforming their internal technology or transforming their vendor technologies onto a new technology stack.
And that's what you guys do at Genesis. Can you speak a little bit more about how the actual platform accelerates development and just really improve delivery time?
That's a great question. With the platform, it comes with a lot of no-code tools. And some of those no-code tools, let's take a really basic example. Lots of firms have real legacy relational databases. And they're so caught up into these databases and this data which has been stored there. So with the Genesis low-code, no-code platform, one of the example tools is a relational database migration tool. And what that does is when you run that script and that tool on that relational database, within seconds, it migrates it into the Genesis platform. Not only does it migrate the data schemas, the data servers, the transactions to be able to interact with that data, it also provides a connection back into the legacy database. Why is that really important? Because then it's not a all or nothing jump from a legacy system. What you can do is then run both of those in parallel. And when you can run both of those in parallel, it reduces your operational risk, your operational cost, and gives you an ability to transform with as least risk as possible.
And surely it must accelerate the time for your customers to actually sort of transfer over to the new system. And what does that actually mean for them? What's the benefit?
That's a great question. I think most things right now, especially in the financial markets, is all about innovation.
Right.
Everyone is paying, really, we have a low-code, no-code platform. Really what it is they're buying speed.
Yeah.
They're buying the ability to innovate at speed. So when you look at that, that makes it one of extremely competitive. They can start launching new products, but they can also react to regulatory demands even quicker or compliance demands even quicker. But being able to offer their end clients innovation is game-changing in our industry. I think it's game-changing in pretty much every industry right now. But really, it's that time to market.
Yeah. Very, very important. And the platform doesn't just sort of solve simple workflow automation problems. It actually does really, really complicated stuff. What specifically about the platform allows you to do that?
That's a really good point. So I think what you've seen in what we call first generation low-code, no-code platforms, they're very much BPM, RPA. BPM is business process management, RPA is robotic process automation.
Yeah.
A lot of hype about that right now. With our next generation low-code, no-code platform, it's built on something called EDA, event-driven architecture. Event-driven architecture is all about being able to do things extremely high-performant.
Yeah.
Low latency, resilient. I have a great example. I was recently on a panel 3 weeks ago with another no-code CEO.
Yes.
And his definition of complex was actually that they process 100,000 FX trades a minute. our definition of complex
Go on.
is
Give it to me.
500,000 equity trades a second.
Wow.
These are magnitudes different. So I think it's been the first generation low-code, no-code platforms have served a great purpose. You mentioned earlier there's been a lack of IT resources.
Yes.
Our focus was actually on supercharging developer resources so they can do even more and even quicker. And the no-code tooling is then allowing that to extend to more non-IT developer type resources. So I would say the main characteristics are the type of use case we are solving is real core systems, not these BPM, RPA type use cases.
Yeah.
Although the platform does get used for that now. And that's part of this no-code tooling and why today the whole platform, really now you can for platform has been so important to us.
Absolutely. And I really like the fact that you are empowering people to actually make those changes themselves because it is easy to use, that user experience. Okay, if there was just one message about legacy and low code, no code, what would that message be?
Wow, I think now you do, especially with Genesis, you do really have a platform that can help migrate those legacy systems for you. One way we're very different as well to other cross-industry generic low-code, no-code platforms is that within the Genesis platform, you've got lots of out-of-the-box vendor integrations. So you've truly got a platform that knows the vendor integrations you've had in the past. They've got predefined data schemas, so they know what an FX trade is. We know what an equity allocation is. So I think when you combine all of that we've got an event-driven architecture, we know the vendor integrations, we know the pain that our clients have gone through because we went through them,
Yep.
and we know data models, workflows. You combine all of that, you can really disrupt what was called before buy versus build to what we're now called, and really is resonating right now, buy to build. You now have a platform that's going to get you 95% of the way there. And that last 5% is very easy to do. Whereas with the old vendors, what you have is you're 70% there and you can't change anything. And it's extremely hard to integrate. And why would you want to build that tech stack yourself if we're going to get you all the way there? So I would say, so that was a long answer to your question. But I would say one thing I would take now is that with the Genesis platform, you can buy to build. And that's a complete new paradigm which is changing our industry.
Buy to build. Stephen, thank you very
so
much. Always
Likewise.
great chatting to you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, Ben, Stephen certainly has a lot to say about legacy innovation. Can you talk us through the demo that we're going to see now?
Absolutely, Georgie. So for our first demo today, we're going to have a look at the Prime Broker Portal. We developed this for a large European bank and its prime brokerage business. The client needed to build a self-service portal that integrated with a number of core legacy systems and also replaced manual spreadsheet processes. We used our consolidators to crunch the numbers, analyze the data, which in turn allowed the clients to build their own reports and data extracts.
Great stuff. Well, let's now take a little look at the Prime Broker Portal.
Let's run through the Prime Broker Portal demo. When a client logs in, they're presented with this landing page that provides a summary of all important information across all of the client's accounts. This information is sourced from a number of disparate vendor and internal systems. This system normalizes the data and presents it in a single platform. Starting with the accounts overview, the client is able to see key information across all accounts with the ability to drill down into an individual account to view further and more detailed information. They can view this information across all accounts and they can look at notional positions by accounts. They can look at a breakdown by region. They can look at their biggest winners and losing positions. P&L by account, P&L by region, largest holdings, moving to the risk page, this shows live, up-to-date, real-time trading information across all accounts with the ability to drill down and view information at an individual account level too. This information is sourced from the Prime Broker's execution management system and is shown in real time. It shows margin summary, positions, orders, and executions all in real time. The clearing page shows all trades positions and balance information as at the start of the trading day. This information is sourced from the back office system. Clients are able to view trades, positions, and currency balances as at the start of the trading day. By default, it always shows for the current trading day, but the user is able to select either a single or a date range to view the data. Cash management allows the client to view cash balances, movements and margin requirements at the base currency level for each account, or to drill down and view the individual currency balances on account. Visualizations show the variation in cash balances and how the balance of the cash has been used either in a summary form or how the cash has been used, or the variations have transpired across the trading day. The client is also able to initiate self-service account functions such as cash movements, selecting a currency, clicking cash movement, filling out direction date, out currencies, SSIs, and then initiating the request. Similarly, they can initiate balance conversions between their sub-accounts as well. Moving on to reporting, clients can create custom reports and data extracts. Any new reports are saved to the client's profile and can be recalled at a later date. To create a new extract, simply start with selecting the table. Give the report a title. Then select the columns that you wish to feature in your report. Ticker, name, traded price, market value, last traded price. The user can add additional filters if they wish. And before they finish, they can customize the extract by moving columns around, then select what format they wish to download the report. Back on the landing page, any important information that the prime broker needs to push and alert their client can be shown through either the account notifications window or the alert windows here on the right hand side. Additionally, clients can also interact with the prime broker via the interactive agent.
So Ben, we've had a quick tour of the portal. What's your take on it? Have you got anything else you'd like to add?
Well, Georgia, I think this application is a great example of what legacy innovation is all about and how the Genesis platform was used to interface with a number of those core legacy systems, normalize and analyze that data, and bring it through into an easily deployed, rich web user interface.
Well, that's a great summary. Thank you very much, Ben. Okay, what we're going to discuss next?
Well, the next recurring use case, Georgie, is what we call EUC. EUC stands for End User Computing. Sometimes, depending on where you are in the world or who you work for, it might be called User Defined Technology or UDT. Anyway, it's all about the fact that many organizations are almost plagued by these small and medium-sized applications that have been built over many years by a wide range of internal and business and technology users. These applications carry out specialized and often unique functions relating to a particular business. That is, they are highly customized. However, the problem is that in today's world, applications need not only to be performant, scalable, easily extendable, but they also need to be controlled, secure, and of course audited.
And of course, financial businesses are really heavily regulated. So I can see how EUCs become very problematic.
Absolutely, Georgie. I can't tell you how many times we speak to businesses who face the same challenge when it comes to eradicating these EUCs, or at least moving them on to a modern platform that is acceptable for today's enterprise.
Well, before we take a little look at the demonstration, let's now check in with Genesys co-founder and CEO Stephen Murphy on end-user computing. Stephen, thank you for joining me today to speak about end-user computing. Let's start by what's your definition of end-user computing and how does it specifically relate to the financial markets?
Yes. So it's sometimes called EUC, obviously abbreviation, as well as UDT, User Developed Technology. Typically it's spreadsheets. And it's spreadsheets that a non-IT resource has developed, and sometimes it's also called shadow IT. Extensive across financial markets. Spreadsheets, people want to calculate data very quickly on the fly, but it's now become an inherent problem within the financial markets because really some core business processes have been relying on spreadsheets.
Okay, but it's still very important, isn't it? Why is end-user computing so important?
End-user computing is actually to actually transform that part of the industry is super important. Okay. Why? It's really there because it's not permissioned. It's not audited, there's no audit of data or information there. So the transformation of EUC is imperative because there's huge operational risk and costs of not being able to know who's seen that data, who could change the calculations, or who has access to that data.
So how does the Genesys platform interact with end-user computing? How does it transform their estates?
Great question. We've had, like similarly other types of use cases, we've got a number of tools which actually can consume these spreadsheets. When it consumes it, actually will transform the data into the defined data schemas within Genesys. Yep. Actually, even the data which is actually in the spreadsheets, it will transform into the database structure within Genesys. And it also create a connection so that people, if they want to migrate, can actually not do it in one big hit. They can actually put files in a certain location and it will transform it into Genesys World. Then you have all of the security, you have all of the authorization, the authentication. You can build your workflows in a operationally compliant way, both to regulators as well as internal compliance.
Great stuff. And how does low-code, no-code fit in with all this?
Again, I think it really comes down to we've got these great tools, which if you imagine what happened before is the end users, hence end-user computing, were building these applications on spreadsheets. The beauty of low-code, no-code platforms now is they themselves can build enterprise-grade applications on the Genesys low-code, no-code platform. So therefore, they don't have to do this on spreadsheets anymore. So it's a win-win. It's win-win for the IT organization, and it's actually a win-win for the business organization who can now actually build things not relying on Excel, for instance, to build end workflows.
Great stuff. And finally, are there any use cases that you'd like to mention here that really use this?
Yeah, we have, on the Now You Can events, we've had ING. ING built a credit insurance application for syndicated loans. Previously, that was all being built internally on spreadsheets. So we're able to actually take that, transform that extremely quickly in a very iterative, agile approach as well. So I would say that's a really good use case of replacing spreadsheets for a really core part of their business.
Goodbye to the spreadsheets. Stephen, thank you so much for joining me to speak about end-user computing. Again, some really fascinating insights there from Stephen. So Ben, can you talk us through how clients are addressing these issues with the Genesys low-code, no-code platform?
Well, again, clients using our platform to develop bespoke applications that effectively remove the dependency on the outdated EUC. By moving the application onto our platform, it becomes secure, controlled, audited, scalable, and of course deployed into the cloud.
Great, so what demo are we going to see today?
Well, we have a short clip of an application we developed for ING Bank's fund finance business. Let's take a look.
The fund finance application was built to replace a manual process for a bank's fund finance division. It is categorized as an end-user computing, or EUC, replacement application. It manages the process and workflow for creating and updating loan facility records and their respective borrowing bases. Updated borrowing base data can be uploaded in multiple formats into the application, which normalizes the data from multiple sources to provide updated information to the business, in particular showing their live facility and investor exposure. When a user logs into the application, they are presented with the dashboard showing key workflow updates along with some data analytics. Here they can view any incomplete borrowing bases that require attention, along with any upcoming renewals that will also be actioned in the near future. Additionally, we have 2 charts showing some key metrics: top investors by exposure and investor borrowing base exposure by type. Data can be viewed in either euro or dollars. Managers' and investors' information are maintained on their respective pages. A user's entitlements will control what they can see and if they have permission to add, modify, or delete any of this data. The bulk of the fund finance workflow is driven from the portfolio page. Here, a user can select the loan facility they wish to update. They select the applicable borrowing base. Any borrowing base commitments are shown below. Periodically, the commitments will need to be updated so that the borrowing base can be recalculated. Collecting this data in the past was a lengthy and troublesome process. Each borrower submitted an updated data in non-standardized spreadsheet formats. This took many hours to normalize, but also introduced organizational risk due to the manual nature of this process. To resolve this issue, we have been able to implement a flexible upload feature that allows the individual borrowers to send their preferred format of data update. We will show you more on how this is managed later on in this demonstration, but for now, we will upload a data file by first selecting the predefined template that has been used, and then validate the entries against the configured criteria to upload. Admin users are able to define and maintain the reference data within the application using these menus. Exposing this allows clients to maintain the application without having to rely on further development. Earlier, we saw how users uploaded updated borrowing base data into the application using a selected template. Here is where the templates are managed. The template contains key information as to where the relevant data required to upload is located within the borrower's customized spreadsheet. The fund finance application needs key pieces of data from within the spreadsheet. The template is used to specify where to find these within the file, along with setting the default values should they not be present. Furthermore, rows of data can be uploaded by defining blocks. These blocks have a start and an end specified that the fund finance application will look for within the spreadsheet. The resulting data is uploaded to the mapped group name. Like many applications built on the Genesis platform, the report writing building block has been deployed not only to allow users to run ad hoc reports, but to also create and edit custom reports. The report criteria is configured by selecting the data source and fields to view, along with any filters to customize the report extract. Finally, a user runs the report to save and export the results. The client was able to easily deploy the core Genesis application building blocks to manage users, their access type, permissions, and profiles. This instantly allowed for the application to be scaled across many regions at an enterprise level. Lastly, another important building block has been used to ensure that all users' actions within the application are logged in the audit trail.
So Ben, watching that demo, it does look very specialized, doesn't it?
For sure, Georgie, and I think that's a great point because using a low-code, no-code platform like Genesis really changes things up and allows clients to create really bespoke and specialized applications tailored to their exact needs. It's a game-changing moment once people see that the Genesis platform can deliver these applications with a much reduced time frame and cost. Traditional software development methods are cost and time prohibitive, plus there's just too much demand for development time today.
Well, on that note, let's move on to our next use case. What have we got lined up, Ben?
The next use case, Georgie, is what we call new industry applications. It's all about using the Genesis low-code, no-code platform to create new applications for existing markets and segments. As I mentioned before, traditional software development methods are slow and costly to deliver, but businesses today need bespoke and tailored solutions to facilitate their day-to-day operations. So what you typically see is that a business will be forced to operate in an almost compromised way because of the limits of the software and processes they can employ. It's almost as though there isn't much choice for business when it comes to finding a complete software solution. But Genesys changes that because you can develop truly customized and bespoke applications in a fraction of the time on our platform.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Ben. Well, let's now take a little look at my conversation with Stephen Murphy as we discussed new industry applications. So, Stephen, great to be back with you. We're going to be speaking about new industry applications. So, first of all, how do you define new industry applications at Genesys?
Yeah, so within our industry, there's a huge amount of different vendor applications, and sometimes they're not fit for purpose. And what we define new industry applications is where a client comes to us, partners to build a new industry application where they would have previously bought from a legacy vendor technology.
Okay, so why should new industry apps be a key focus for financial market firms?
Again, great question. Within our industry, there's a lot of vendor applications which are no longer fit for purpose. That could be from both a technical perspective and or a functional perspective. So the financial markets right now is extremely ripe for disruption. And hence we have a number of clients come to us to disrupt and build a new industry application with them.
Great. And how does specifically the Genesys platform help firms build new industry applications?
Right. Well, a lot of the platform already has integration points to the previous vendors. So if they want to migrate and or they build a new industry application, but they don't want to take that one leap off it at once. They want to kind of run both in parallel, as well as the predefined data schemas. So if it was a new FX trading platform, for instance, we already know what an FX trade is. We will know what our data points are there. So we help because we've got the low-code, no-code platform with industry-specific integrations and defined data schemas.
Brilliant. And you speak of low-code, no-code there. What would you say some of the main benefits of using low-code, no-code are?
For industry applications, I'd say it's the ability, again, to integrate into some of these legacy technologies. Basically, it's just time to market. You can all of a sudden, we've got clients that have actually had that decision of buy versus build. And when they've actually decided to build with us on the platform, they've been able to build that industry application quicker than taking an industry vendor, trying to integrate it, and then trying to build the gaps in functionality which was required.
And finally, is there a new industry applications use case of note that you'd like to mention?
I think it's a great one right now in the post-trade allocation confirmation space. We call that TAM, Trade Allocation Management. We've now got a number of clients ranging from, clients based in Latin America, North America, Europe, Middle East, and even the Far East right now. So I think that's a ripe for disruption. And it's a multi-asset class post-trade allocation confirmation platform. Previously, that used to be single asset classes like equities, fixed income, FX, futures. We've now built this platform, which is a completely multi-asset class platform. So I would say TAM is the one of choice.
Well, Ben, Stephen made some great points there. Can you speak to us about the demo that we're going to see when it comes to new industry applications?
Yeah, well, Georgie, we have an application called Treasury Money Market Rates.
Right.
And it was developed for a large UK-based bank. The background to this application was that the bank's existing method of setting and distributing money market rates between traders and sales had a number of weaknesses. Restructures within the bank meant that certain technology and systems were no longer available. An interim solution was put in place, and it was very manual and used spreadsheets. This not only causes issues around the likelihood of human error, but also lacks controls that would prevent data manipulation. At the time when this was built, banks needed to ensure the business of setting and distributing rates was rock solid and controlled, not to mention being fully audited. This application controlled that process, along with providing a platform to distribute the rates through to all the sales teams, who in turn would use the rates to price trades for clients. But let's have a look, and then we can catch up on the key points afterwards.
The Treasury Money Markets Rates Application, or TMM, is what we call a new industry application. It replaces existing software applications with a modern alternative, purpose-built to fit the exact requirements of the client. It was built for a large bank, and this application facilitated the distribution of money market rates from the traders through to the sales desk, where the rates could be quoted to clients. First up, we follow a trader's workflow to set rates and publish them to the Treasury sales desk. Most often, rates are pushed into the TMM application from an upstream system. Alternatively, the trader can upload rates from a file, or they can set the rates using the curve management screen. To do this, we first select the currency we wish to view or edit. We can then edit fields on the ladder for each of the available periods on our curve. Below, we can see the calculated rates for today, tomorrow, spot, and the different periods out to 12 months. The trader can edit any of the specific rates by adjusting the mid-price and spreads. As edits are made, any dependent or calculated fields flash to feed back that the changes have been registered in the application. Once the trader is happy with the rates, they click the Publish button for either all rates for the selected currency, or alternatively, click the Publish button for specific rate to update. Now this is completed. The updated rates are available to the sales team via the Treasury Rates screen. This is the view that the Treasury sales team used to quote rates to their clients. The sales user selects the currency, then the period and rates, if available, are displayed. These rates and spreads can be quoted to clients. Should a client request a specific date or period, then the sales user can specify it here, and the application will calculate a price from the curve that the trader has previously entered. From time to time, certain events will see the need for traders to stop quoting rates to the sales teams. When this occurs, sales will need to refer the rate request directly to traders for a quote. The TMM application easily allows a trader to halt quoting on either individual rates for a currency or for a whole currency altogether. To do this, the trader simply clicks the Refer button, which instantly updates the rates on all sales user screens. Pricing becomes halted. This way, the Treasury sales team cannot quote erroneous prices to clients. When the trader is ready to resume quoting to the sales desk, they simply click the Publish button to release the prices. The Treasury sales team's screen now have been updated, and they can now see the two-way prices again. Importantly, the bank needed to be able to fully audit every action within the application. This level of control was not previously available to them. If a user's entitlements permit, they can access the audit window, which shows all of the events logged within the system. This enables the bank to be able to trace any event at any time. Auditing is a common core building block of the Genesis platform that is used in nearly every application built.
Well, Ben, after watching that, I can see what you meant earlier when you were saying just how important it is to make sure that you've audited all that information and are just in control of that whole process.
For sure, and I'd like to show this as an example because the application is really quite specialised and also customised to the bank's exact requirements. By using the Genesis platform, the bank was able to implement and control its workflow whilst also integrating with key core systems to help obtain the pricing data.
So Ben, let's move on to our fourth and final use case. What have you got for us?
Well, Georgie, we'll be looking at new e-platforms.
What are new e-platforms and how do they differ to the ones that we've already covered today?
Well, all of these use cases, of course, have some similarities, but where new e-platforms focuses on is creating solutions for new markets or segments or even new ways of doing business. Let's say you take an existing business which operates in one or more known market segments. Now that business finds either a new segment to operate in or perhaps it's redefining how it operates in an existing segment. So when it comes to software solutions to suit, you'll almost certainly find little to no choice that fits the exact problem you're trying to solve. So here at Genesis, we help solve that problem by once again giving the client a new application that fits or suits the new business need. This would be opposed to trying to bend and stretch an existing solution to fit, which to be honest, very rarely ends up meeting the exact requirements.
Sounds great, Ben. Before we dive into the demo of that new e-platform, let's now hear from Genesis CEO, Stephen Murphy. Well, Stephen, thank you for joining me to speak about e-platforms. Let's start off by just asking what your definition of e-platforms is and how does it relate to the financial markets?
Yeah, so when we think of e-platforms, when we think of electronic platforms, they can really range from anything. It could be a new consortium marketplace to do trading, all the way through to a wealth management system. And that wealth management system may be looking at how to do risk or produce new portfolios for clients as a marketplace, which never existed before. So electronic platforms are truly changing something which was manual, operational, into a new electronic way and new electronic workflows.
So how are they different from platforms of the past and why are they really important right now?
That's a really good question. When we think of the new electronic platforms today, electronic platforms in the past were and if you take the equities world, it was a single broker-dealer platform.
Right.
Now what happens is you as a client would have to have a single dealer platform for one broker-dealer, another dealer, another dealer, another dealer. And therefore that was very inefficient for you to use those platforms. The new platforms today, or these new e-platforms, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, is actually about bringing all of those dealers together in one single place. And that benefits the client a lot more to actually get price transparency, get efficiency of trading across many counterparts. So that's really a major difference in financial markets.
Well, let's bring Genesis into the conversation then. How do they actually enable you to build these new e-platforms? What's the sort of build process all about?
Yeah, I think with us, what's very different is people talk about agile.
Yeah.
And agile is not just about putting post-it notes on a screen and now, wow, I'm agile. The platform allows you to very quickly and iteratively build applications. And when you're doing these new platforms, which has many different market participants, you really want to fail quickly because different participants can have a different view about how that new e-platform should work. So I'd say one of the great things about the Genesis platform is you truly are doing agile.
Yes.
You are already doing it in an iterative way, and you can really fail quickly to get to the end point you want to get to.
So agility is really key. Failing quickly is key. Are there any other big benefits when it comes to e-platforms?
And I think what really comes out of it is the other things we have in the platform is very much the business components, the APIs, the integrations. And again, that event-driven architecture, which is all about high performance, resilient, highly scalable, secure. You get those all out of the box.
Absolutely. And are there any use cases of note that you'd like to mention?
I think the great one is we have the Project Octopus.
Okay.
We've both had Citi and Bank of America on the show before. Both the CLO and loan trading world, that was ripe for disruption, and they were able to build a POC within 3 months. That's again very iteratively in a very agile manner, being able to build something that they thought the market would want, a new industry marketplace.
Great stuff. Stephen, thank you so much for speaking to me about e-platforms today. Well, fascinating insights there from Stephen again. What demo have you got for us, Ben, that backs up some of the stuff he was talking about?
Well, Georgie, before I mentioned that this use case is particularly relevant for a business who might find a new way of operating within an existing market segment. Well, here we have a great example where it's more than one business that is changing the game. We're going to have a look at the new Collateralized Loan Obligation, or CLO, trading platform that we have jointly developed for Citi and Bank of America to create the first multi-bank, multi-dealer platform for CLOs and loan trading. Let's jump in and take a look.
This is a new e-platform being developed by a consortium of leading global banks to revolutionize the way loans are traded in the secondary market. Being the first platform to offer multi-banking and multi-dealer access to an automated loan trading matching facility is redefining how the asset classes are being traded whilst reducing operational risk, time, and cost. When a user logs into the application, they are presented with a customized dashboard showing key upcoming market auctions, any BWICs they are offering out to the market, along with some key statistics showing market trends and volumes. The application has been designed for both traders and clients. Therefore, a setup wizard has been built to easily onboard new users and customize how the application will be laid out and work for them. This is all based on their inputs to a short onboarding survey. Users specify their preferences and complete the survey. The application tailors the look and feel based on the inputs. Users can view any upcoming auctions across the market. Auctions are grouped as either open, upcoming, or closed. When an auction is upcoming, users can place draft bids that will be injected into the marketplace once the auction is open. Similarly, Once the auction is open, the user can bid on the BWIC as a whole, or any individual tranches within it. Information relating to auctions that have taken place in the past can be viewed here on the Historical Auctions page. Sorted by date, the BWICs can be expanded to reveal further information about the auction. Trades can be found on the Trades page. Finally, we have additional features to help usability, such as alerts, which are pushed to users in real time. Past alerts that have been triggered can be viewed here. Dismissing an alert clears it from the list.
Well, Ben, another brilliant example there from Genesis.
Yes, Georgie, and being one of the latest applications to be developed on the platform, it really shows off the latest in UI design and usability too. But more importantly, it really shows how far you can go with applications built on the Genesis platform.
Well, Ben, on that note, thank you so much for talking through your 4 use cases today. Well, that does bring us to the end of the show. If you'd like to learn more about how Genesis is solving key industry challenges with low-code, no-code, just head to genesis.global. Be sure to also sign up for next month's Expo using the footer below and download our fact sheet, which you'll find on this page. Thank you again to our guests for joining us today and, of course, to our audience for dialing into the show.